Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're headed to Europe.
Ooh, sounds fun.
It is. We're going to be taking a closer look at some of its most famous capitals.
Nice.
Our source material is actually a really fun podcast script. It's got all these fun facts and trivia about all these European cities.
Yeah.
But, us.
I'm going deeper.
We got to go deeper. We always got to go deeper. I'm really excited to see what kind of hidden gems and maybe some unexpected insights that we can uncover.
Yeah, I think what people forget sometimes is that capital cities especially, they have so many different layers to them.
Right.
We're talking history, culture, little quirks.
Just everything.
Yeah, just waiting to be explored. I'm excited.
I'm ready. Let's get started with London.
Okay.
I was blown away to learn that London has over 170 museums.
Wow.
To put that into perspective, that's like if you spent every single weekend for the next 3 years at a different museum.
Wow, yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot of museums.
It really shows how important London is. On like a global scale,
Yeah.
for art, history, culture.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course, you have the super famous ones.
Yeah.
Like the British Museum or the National Gallery. But then tucked away, you also have all these really niche museums.
Yeah, like the Fan Museum.
Yeah, the Fan Museum.
Okay, when I read that, I was like, what?
Oh, what is that?
What is that? What kind of fan collection are we talking here? Like antique hand fans,
Right.
elaborate ceiling fans. Are we talking about like sports fans? Like what is going on?
Well, it turns out it's specifically focused on handheld fans
Okay.
as objects of art and fashion,
Okay.
which at first you might think that's kind of niche. Yeah. But that's kind of what makes London so cool.
Yeah.
There's just something for everyone.
There really is something for everyone there.
Yeah.
Okay, so from London, let's go to Paris.
Ooh la la.
The City of Lights, right. We all know about Paris for being so romantic.
Yeah.
But did you know that it was actually one of the first cities to ever install streetlights?
Yeah, that's right. And that goes all the way back to the 17th century.
Wow.
And it completely changed what nightlife was like in Paris.
Yeah, I bet.
Not only did it make things safer,
For sure.
but it also is part of the reason why we call it the City of Lights, which is really cool. It shows you how these things that seem small
Right.
can totally change a city's personality,
Absolutely. It makes you think, what would Paris be like today
Yeah.
if they hadn't done that?
It's so interesting.
Okay, let's go to Venice now.
Okay.
Now, this one's a little concerning. Venice is slowly sinking.
Oh, no.
Can you imagine going to a city that is slowly being reclaimed by the sea?
Yeah.
What a unique but also kind of bittersweet travel experience that would be.
It's true. I think it really shows the struggle between humans, and the environment.
Yeah.
Especially with all these coastal cities, dealing with rising sea levels.
Right.
Reddles is a good example of that.
Yeah. Makes you really appreciate what we have now.
Yes.
Okay, now let's go to a city that is super old, Athens.
Yeah, okay.
Athens has been continuously inhabited for over 3,400 years.
Wow.
That's older than the Roman Empire.
I know. Just walking through Athens, like walking through history. You
Yeah.
can feel all the philosophers. To picture what life was like way back then.
It really comes alive.
It does.
Okay, ready for a change of pace?
Yep.
Let's go to Reykjavik, Iceland. This one really surprised me. The world's northernmost capital city doesn't have a single McDonald's.
Seriously?
Yeah. Apparently the last one closed in 2009.
Wow. I think that really says something about Icelandic people
Yeah.
and their values.
Yeah.
Like they really care about their local food and traditions,
Uh-huh.
even with, big global companies like that.
Totally. Makes me want to try some Icelandic food now.
Me too.
Before we go to more cities, let's try a couple of these riddles from our source material.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, here's the first one. I'm a city built on water where gondolas glide and lovers flock. What am I?
I think I know that one. Gondolas, canals, romance. It has to be Venice.
You got it. Okay, let's try one that's a little harder.
Okay.
I have the world's smallest country within my borders. What city am I?
Okay, so this one is about geography. The smallest country is Vatican City,
Right.
and Vatican City is completely inside of Rome.
You nailed it. 2 for 2. Okay, how about a little quiz about European capitals?
Okay, I'm ready. Hit me with your best shot.
All right, first question. Which European capital city has the most bridges? And just to keep you on your toes, it's not Venice.
Ooh, okay. With all the canals, could it be Amsterdam?
That's a really good guess.
Yeah.
But it's actually Hamburg, Germany.
What?
I know. Hamburg has over 2,500 bridges. That's more than Venice and Amsterdam combined.
Wow. I would have never guessed that.
It really goes to show you can always learn something new.
You really can.
Okay, last question. Which European capital is at the highest elevation above sea level?
Okay. Well, since it's on that big plateau, I'm going to say Madrid, Spain.
You are absolutely right.
Madrid is over 2,000 feet above sea level.
Wow. We've covered so much already. From museums to sinking cities to all those bridges, European capitals are full of surprises.
They really are. And we've only just scratched the surface. There is so much more to explore about these cities.
Oh, no.
But for now, let's take a little break and then come back to dive into even more intriguing stories and facts.
Sounds good.
Welcome back to our European capital adventure. You know, I think it's so cool how these cities can be so historic.
Yeah.
But also, so modern at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like this perfect mix. Speaking of which, our source material had this little segment called Just Chatting, and they had all these like fun offbeat facts about some of these cities. One of them that caught my eye was about Brussels.
Oh, Brussels. Okay, so I know Belgium is known for its chocolate.
Yeah.
But what could be so special about Brussels?
Well, apparently, Brussels Airport is the world's largest chocolate selling point.
Wait, seriously? So, is there just this giant chocolate store in the airport? It's not like a giant store, but basically travelers from everywhere
Yeah.
love to just grab some Belgian chocolate
Oh, that makes sense.
before they leave.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
A nice sweet taste of Europe before you head home.
exactly.
Way better than those overpriced airport shops, too.
Right. It's such a good idea.
Okay, so speaking of delightful surprises,
Yeah.
I read about this really unique tradition in Copenhagen
Okay.
during the changing of the guard ceremony at Amalienborg Palace.
Oh, yeah. With their hats?
The hats.
Yeah.
Okay, so apparently, if the queen is at the palace, the guards will wear these big bearskin hats.
Yes.
But if she's not there,
Yeah.
they wear these simpler caps instead.
That's so funny.
I know, it's like a fashion statement.
Right. I wonder if the queen knows that her presence is announced by those giant hats.
Right, maybe it's like a subtle way of saying, hey, the monarchy is watching.
Yeah. Or maybe it's just one of those funny traditions that happened over time.
Yeah.
That just adds a little fun to the ceremony.
It's definitely memorable.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's switch gears and talk about Prague,
Ooh, Prague.
which is known for being super charming, like a fairy tale.
It really is. The buildings, the streets.
And to add to that fairy tale vibe,
Yeah.
Prague has this really special astronomical clock
Oh, yes.
in the Old Town Square.
I mean, it really is an amazing piece of engineering from that time period.
Right.
It's not just a clock. It's like this whole astronomical instrument.
Right. It tracks the sun and the moon, even the stars.
That's wild. And I heard that every hour
Yeah.
it does this cool thing with figures of the apostles, parading by.
Yeah.
I bet that draws a crowd.
Oh, definitely. People come from all over the world to see it.
Yeah, it just sounds so magical.
It's really cool. It's like the perfect representation of Prague,
Yeah,
It's got the history, the art.
a little magic.
Yeah, that little bit of magic, exactly.
As we're talking about these cities,
I'm realizing how connected they all are to their history.
yeah, you can feel it everywhere you go.
It's in everything, like the old ruins,
The palaces.
even these little traditions that we've been talking about.
Exactly. It's like they've taken their past and made it part of their present,
Yeah, it's like this feeling of continuity.
Exactly. You don't get that in newer cities.
And depth, yeah. Okay, so speaking of continuing on,
Yeah?
let's keep going with some more fun facts from our source material.
Okay.
Okay, did you know that Amsterdam actually has more canals than Venice?
What? No way. I always thought Venice was the canal city.
Right, but it looks like Amsterdam has over 165 canals,
Wow.
while Venice has around 150.
I wonder if that's why people always think of Venice first,
Right.
for romance and canals.
Maybe. But hey, more canals for us to explore, I guess.
That's true.
Okay, get this. Berlin has more doner kebab shops than Istanbul.
Seriously?
Ah.
I would have thought Istanbul would have the most.
I know. You'd think the birthplace of the doner kebab would have that title, right?
Right.
But Berlin has fully embraced the doner kebab.
I mean, they are delicious.
Yeah.
I can't blame them.
It just goes to show how multicultural Berlin is.
It really does.
Okay, I read about this cool project in Helsinki.
Oh, yeah. Helsinki is trying to become the most functional city in the world.
Yeah, by 2025.
I think they called it Think Sustainably or something like that.
Think sustainably, yeah.
That's a pretty big goal. What does that even mean, though? Functional.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it includes a lot of things.
Okay.
Like how sustainable and accessible the city is.
Right.
And just the overall well-being of the people who live there.
So they're not just thinking about, like, practical stuff.
Right.
They want people to actually enjoy living there, too.
Exactly. So things like eco-friendly practices, making public transportation better, and just creating a strong sense of community.
That's awesome. It's really inspiring to see a city taking that seriously.
For sure. It sets a good example for everyone else.
Definitely.
You know, talking about all of these European capitals.
Yeah.
It's clear they're way more than just places where the government is.
Oh, yeah. They're full of culture, history.
They each have their own personality.
Yeah, their own charm.
And with so much going on,
Yeah.
it's not surprising they're so popular with travelers.
Yeah, and history buffs.
For sure. Oh, before I forget,
Right.
I want to share one last fun fact about a city that people don't talk about enough.
Oh, which one?
Lisbon, Portugal.
Okay.
Did you know that it's actually older than Rome?
Really? Wow, I had no idea.
It's true. Lisbon was founded by the Phoenicians around 1200 BC,
Wow.
and Rome wasn't founded until 753 BC.
That's just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Lisbon in a whole new way now.
I know, you just never know what you're going to find.
Yeah, even in places you think you know a lot about.
Exactly. Well, I think that's a great place to wrap up part 2 of our European capital deep dive. When we come back, we'll have some final thoughts and reflections. Welcome back to the deep dive. We have been all over Europe.
I know, it's been quite a trip.
It has, uncovering all these hidden gems and crazy facts.
So many. And it really makes you think differently about some of these cities.
It really does. Speaking of which, I'm still stuck on that Lisbon thing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Older than Rome. Who knew?
It just shows you can never really know everything about a place.
You really can't.
There's always something new to discover. I think that's what makes exploring these European capitals so interesting.
Totally.
You get that sense of discovery.
Yeah.
And you make all these connections you didn't expect, and just the sheer amount of history.
And culture, it's amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like you're going back in time.
I know.
Every street, every monument, every tradition has a story.
They really do.
Yeah.
So, as we're wrapping up,
Yeah.
what were some of your favorite parts? What surprised you?
That's tough. There was just so much cool stuff.
I know, right?
But I think what got me the most was how those big historical events
Yeah.
and then those quirky little details, they all kind of come together.
Yeah, it's like that in Paris, you know?
Right.
Huge history.
Uh,
But then they were also one of the first cities to use streetlights.
and it changed everything.
It really did. It changed their nightlife and even gave the city its nickname.
It's so cool how those big and small things mix together.
And don't forget those weird traditions.
Oh, yeah, like in Copenhagen.
With the hats.
Yes, the bearskin hats only come out if the queen is there.
I love that. It's like those little details that give each city its personality.
Totally, it's what makes them special.
Yeah. Oh, and we can't forget the food.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I'm already thinking about my next trip to Brussels.
Just for the airport chocolate.
Exactly. And how about all those doner kebabs in Berlin?
I know. More than Istanbul. I guess they really love them over there.
Berlin is such a melting pot of cultures.
It really is, and the food reflects that.
Yeah, it's not just about seeing the sights, you know?
It's about experiencing it all.
Exactly. Trying the food,
Yeah.
seeing how people live.
Immersing yourself.
Yeah. And being open to the unexpected.
So as we finish up our European capital adventure,
Yeah.
I keep thinking about what really makes a capital city stand out,
That's a good question.
besides the government stuff, you know?
I think it's a mix of things.
Yeah.
It's the history, the culture, but most importantly, the people.
It's those stories, those traditions.
Yeah. And that energy you feel in the streets.
Each city is unique.
Exactly. They all have that something special that makes you want to explore them more.
That's why we love to travel.
Right. It's all about those new experiences and seeing the world in a different way.
Absolutely. To all our listeners out there,
Yeah.
we encourage you to keep exploring those European capitals.
You never know what you might find.
Maybe you'll even learn some new fun facts to tell your friends.
Yeah. Impress them with your knowledge.
Until next time, everyone, keep exploring and happy travels.